So I'm just going to do a little prayer. Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Thine is kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. God, grant the serenity to keep this program, this whole thing nice, safe, and clear. Thank you. Okay. So here we are. This is the Unveiling Mystery Show, and I am your host, Mercedez Lucke-Benedict. And I have an amazing gentleman on our show. His name is Brent Thomas, and he is, I'm calling you the Commander-in-Chief of the Paranormal Portal. You like that?
Sure. Yeah, I'm the creator and host of it. Yeah, that works. Commander-in-Chief is good.
Well, you know, our mutual friend Kev Baker, they called him the captain, and I'm like, well, I can't call you the captain, but I'm going to call you the Commander-in-Chief, as that's like even cooler, you know. So while we're here together, I wanted to just tell you something, and I'll tell everyone that's going to listen. I just feel, Brent, it was just an honor to have met you, and to have gotten to be on your show. And I feel like is like this in sync feeling of somehow it was like, for me, put together, within the spirits or something, because I just feel like a kindred spirit. We've talked about this before. So I just wanted you to know that. And I'm a major fan of your show.
Oh, thank you.
And you're welcome. And I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit about the Paranormal Portal and how did it begin for you? I know we were talking just a few minutes ago, but could you share that with everyone? How did this begin for you, the Paranormal Portal?
So, there was not like one catalyzing event that's like, oh my gosh, I should start a show. It was kind of the culmination of a lifetime of being interested in the paranormal and, being fascinated with it. It's from a very, very young age. I just always thought the concepts of being in a world of spirits and wonder and, things happening that weren't readily explainable. One of the taglines for my show when I first started it was I wrote a little snippet, and it's like, in our hubris, we think that the world is contained and controlled and it's labeled and categorized and it's neatly on a shelf. But then this stuff happens, this weird other things that happen that don't fit into the paradigm. And those are the things that I love, because I love that the world still has magic and mystery in it, and there's still discovery just waiting for us. And I think the paranormal isn't just where things go sideways and end up all, reality just had a weird glitch. A lot of people call them glitches in the matrix, so to speak, but I don't think it is. I think the paranormal events are absolutely profound demonstrations of the fluid nature of the reality that we live in, that they're certainly unusual and they are anomalies to our standard thinking, but perhaps they're demonstrations of what we have yet to learn. And I love that. I think that, there is such a realm of possibility. And so in my lifetime, I was always pursuing stories, literature, videos, all kinds of information, just to understand or try to understand what this paranormal stuff was. And it's always been a fascination. And I didn't have any experiences as a real young child until, my first experiences when I was 14. And we can certainly go through my experiences, at least there's so many hundreds of them, but there's some really huge ones that I think are really profound and amazing. But I kind of led this weird life. Like, I'd have friendships with people that from a very, very young age, they knew this was what their life was going to be. And by golly, they would do it. It would just like, I'm going to be this. One friend wanted to be a priest, and it was his life goal since he was a young child. And he was like the youngest lay reader in Minnesota, where I'm from, ever. And then he went up the list of achievements went off to a seminary in New York City, and he's a priest. An Episcopalian, I guess, is not necessarily a priest in the Catholic terms, but it's very similar. But I was always really jealous of that, because I was like, what am I supposed to do? How come he knows and how come I don't? What's wrong with me? And so through my life, I'd done so many different jobs. God, I worked in corrections for a number of years. I worked in the colleges and universities system as an IT person. I taught in a school, computer classes, in a high school level. And all of these things. I worked retail, I worked factories, I worked installations, just anything and everything. And I was like, why don't I know what to do? And it wasn't until I was working in advertising that I met a gentleman by the name of Chris Gio, he was like a contractor to the company I worked for. I did marketing, and he did a lot of the IT stuff. And he also owned and ran and runs Truth Frequency Radio Network. And
oh, that's right. I knew that name, the Geo. Yeah.
Yeah. So suddenly he and I are talking, and it just was like this. It's really weird, because the whole idea almost came preformed, like it was just given to me. It's like, I want to do this show, and it's going to, and just suddenly the name was there, Paranormal Portal, and I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. He goes, cool, let's make it happen. And so I started back in, I think it was April of 2016, I started the Paranormal Portal on TFR, Truth Frequency Radio, and just from there, it's just grown. I decided to, he had also, with his show Beyond the Veil, had decided to do some YouTubing as well, and he's like, you should do that. I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that. So I started YouTubing as well as broadcasting on TFR, and then the podcast came along since 2018 or 19. When Wes Germer of Sasquatch Chronicles happened to catch my show on YouTube, and he's like, why isn't this a podcast? And I'm like, I don't know. Okay, it can be a podcast. And so he helped me. So it was just this culmination of such incredible people coming together and just being there at the right time